Are you still struggling with last year's problems? Does the same issues keep reoccurring in your marriage? In today's conversation, we will be discussing help, New Year, same problems with our good friends, Karl and Raquel Adderley, all the way from Nassau, Bahamas.
We are Vito and Linda Patrick. We are international marriage coaches, and we want to welcome you to our conversation this evening. You want to go ahead and subscribe to the Unique Couples YouTube channel. Just click on that subscribe button, and then you want to make sure you select all so you can know every time we go live here at Unique Couples. Make sure you turn on that bell so you can be notified every time we go live here at Unique Couples. Go ahead and like, go ahead and share. Also, hashtag Live Squad for those of you that are watching. So stay tuned for help. New Year, same problems.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and we're back live with you here on Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. It is great to have you. Thanks for joining us. All of you who are here. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Julie. Thanks for joining us, Kathy. Listen, go ahead, hashtag Live Squad if you are watching with us live. And if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay in the chat. We are so excited about this conversation tonight because guess what? Hey, it's a new year, but we have some of the same problems in our marriage and we want to kind of work on making that better, right? So
Yes,
new year, same problems, help. And we have today helping us Karl and Raquel Adderley all the way from Nassau, Bahamas. And so we're excited about that.
Yes, we're excited to have Karl and Raquel on. And Karl and Raquel, can you go ahead and tell our viewing audience a little about yourself?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, it's awesome pleasure to be here on a Sunday evening. Nothing better than being here with Vito and Linda and Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. This is awesome. This is several times being with these guys. They're just awesome. I'm honored to be a part of being associated with good people who really has a heart for family and marriages. And so we have connected, and this is divine, and this is an eternal connection. So whatever we can do to assist you guys in the vision that you have for marriages and family, that's us.
Yes.
I'll let my wife talk about us. First of all, I have to say this first. I met her. We actually met in school, high school. She was distracted at the time looking at other people, but God had to get her attention, and then he brought her, and we connected several years after that. But I'll let her go on with tell you about us, actually, where we are now, who we are.
Well, like he said, we're Karl Raquel Adderley. We met in school. We were not high school sweethearts, but a few years after graduating from school, we saw each other, hung out a little bit, and things moved on. And here we are now, 21 years later, 3 children, and a marriage ministry that's thriving, loving each other, loving God. I think the most important thing about Carl and I is that we love people and we love God. We love helping people and being there for people. So having Power to Passion as a ministry is another way of us helping our fellow brothers and sisters. We love marriage and we love to see marriages thriving. Carl is the funny one. I'm the serious one. Carl is the one that's more organized, and I'm the one that lives happy-go-lucky. But together, we are a beautiful couple, in my opinion. Thank you for loving me, honey.
You're right, baby. You're right.
Awesome. Definitely your love for, helping and, kind of being there for couples and marriages definitely shines through. We love what you guys are doing with Pathway to Passion and the help that you are offering, because guess what? We know marriages are facing so much, problems from inside, outside, all around. And so the more people we have working together and, helping marriages and helping couples to succeed and thrive, the better it is, because, hey, we want all our marriages to succeed. So thanks again for all that you do. So Carlos from Nassau, we said that right. Yeah. And we, of course, love having you on. So y'all will see more of them. Hashtag in the chat. Show some love to Karl and Raquel. Put in your comments. We just love having and being with Karl and Raquel. Yes. So we're talking about help. New Year, problems.
Wow.
Yeah. Because, it could be a new day in your marriage. Like yesterday you had these issues, and then today comes and you have the same issues again. A new month, and you're still facing those problems. It could be a new whatever situation. You could even move in a new home, but you still have some of the same struggles. So today we want to look at, some of those problems that couples have and how they can kind of like work with, overcome them, and move on, and don't let the problems be the whole relationship, because a relationship should be the most important issue.
So, Karl and Raquel, can you go ahead and tell our viewing audience what problem or obstacle have you two encountered in your marriage, and how did you deal with it?
Well, I'll give a simple one. We're actually going to share two different things. I'll give a simple one from my standpoint. When we got married, I was a person who, like she mentioned, is very organized. So for me, little things make a difference in terms of where things are in the house. Like if you're finished with something, you put it away. If you use something, you put it away. And so it may seem small, but becomes a major issue because I guess it's baggage for me, because I see it as a major issue at the time. And so it started to develop a major thing where I was very irritated all the time, rowing all the time, arguing all the time, and making my wife miserable. I don't know why I would do that, this beautiful lady, but so as simple as she would drink out a cup and then she'll leave it in the room. Then later on, she get another cup and then leave it somewhere else. And mind you, she still need to change. But it's just, the bottom line is, this was something that had to do with small differences that were magnified. All right. When you're in it, it seems like such a major issue. But when you step back and you realize, what? Am I willing to really lose peace in my home, or even possibly lose my marriage, or make my spouse miserable over something that's so simple? So now what I do, I ignore it, or most of the time I would just move it and just put it where it's supposed to be, and probably mention it maybe later on. You know what I mean? I'm going to give something simple, but she has something a little more serious that she would share, that she had to make an adjustment on.
Before I share that, I want to thank you so much, because you've made my life so much happier when you do not complain about the cup, because it's just something that I do. I've tried to break out of it. I think I'm doing a little bit better, but it's baggage. I want water. I want something to drink first thing in the morning, and I just want something to drink all the time. So I guess, but I'm thankful for that. Yeah. So my struggle in our marriage was, I'm a go-getter. I'm always having to do something, and I'm always working at things. I'm like Carl said, if I don't have something to do, I'm going to find something to do. So I'm a go-getter. I'm always trying to create something, build something, move something. I'm a mover and shaker. So what happened to me was when we first got married, it was easy to balance life because it was just Carl and I. So I could do all the things that I want to do and still be able to take care of the home and take care of my husband and take care of these other things. But as life and our family grew and ministry came on stream, everything took so much of my time. I started to lose me, lose who I am, couldn't find time for myself. Finding a balance between work, ministry, business, and the children and all those things in between that I never went to sleep. I fell asleep most of the time because it was just pure burning the candle from both ends and burning out at the end of the evening. And so I had to make adjustments. And so what happened was a lot of times my husband would complain that he was getting the leftovers. He was getting the fumes from me at the end of the evening, rather than a vibrant wife that is willing and happy to entertain, to just be there, to be his wife, to be his spouse, to be his companion. And most of the times I was just gone sleeping and somehow his voice just soothes me. Like I tell him he is home to me. Once he starts to speak, it's like lullaby. So I had to learn.
I don't know if that's positive or negative, but anyway.
I had to learn to know when to cut off everything else. And sometimes I still struggle, but I'm doing much better. In fact, I have set myself a bedtime. So that helps me. So when I hear my bedtime alarm that says to me, okay, we need to pull back on everything else and start to focus on other things. And so that was my main struggle, finding that balance. And I was losing who I am because when he would say to me, okay, honey, your fumes. And I'm like, but how do you expect me to do this? What do you want from me? And it was just this whole list of, well, I've already done this and this and this and that. And then I had to remember there's priorities, and I have to keep the priority. It's God and my relationship with God. It's my husband. And then everything else follows. And so I had to learn that. And I think I'm doing a much better job. There's still always room for improvement, but I think that was the main thing for me that I struggled with in my marriage. And I thank you for putting up with me, because I'm certain that there was many times I'm certainly looked up to God and said, God, this wife you gave me, but it's working out and it's getting better.
We're in this for life, baby.
For life.
Yeah. So, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because so many times wives may find themselves in that situation. So typical example, it's like, you have a computer, and I think maybe your computer will probably look like this, Raquel. I'm not sure, but since you deal with computers, maybe not. But you have so many tabs open. Like you go on the screen and there's so many tabs. So Vito open up my computer and it's like, oh my gosh, you have so many tabs open, like, tabs, all sorts of things open, because there's just always something to go and get done, to get completed, to finish, to get back to. And then of course it takes up a lot of time. And for him, I was saying, maybe for you, he goes on his computer and it's one tab open and he's finished with that, and then that closes. But sometimes for women, we have all of those tabs open in our minds. And it's like, we don't get settled. We don't get, because all of these things going on, these multitasking things that we have in our mind going on, and the things that we need to get accomplished. And so we want to say to you wives, those of you who are watching, listen, you need to learn to make the priority, like Raquel says, and learn to kind of like close some of those tabs on that mind. And try to make time for what is needed at that time. You have to learn to shut down. So that really was, I'm sure someone is experiencing that. Go ahead, let us know if that is a takeaway for you. Comment in the chat, leave your questions in the chat. We will definitely respond. We look forward to hearing your comments and responding to them. So go ahead. If you're watching it live or the replay, we would love to hear from you.
Yes. So Karl and Raquel, what are some of the problems couples are struggling with this new year?
Well, like Linda mentioned, Well, the Bible tells you there's no, well, there's normally said there's nothing new under the sun. And the topic is
Mhm.
New Year's same problems. So, um, obviously, definitely the communication issue. I mean, that's something that I think basically will be in marriages for life. And that's why it's a work in progress. And you have to be very deliberate in your approach to communication, because really and truly communication is the bedrock and the foundation of your relationship.
Mhm.
And that's one of the main issues. People take it for granted, but communication and the lack thereof, or even how they communicate, is a major issue basically in every marriage. And so that's number one for me.
I think a lot of couples since COVID came in, not to negate that they had the problem or may have had problems before financially, but I think since COVID and all the shutdowns and all the demands and all of the extra
Mhm.
monies that have to be spent in testing or whatever else, I think one of the uh, issues that most marriages are facing right now is that of financial making ends meet, prioritizing and being able to stay um, above ground and not feel like they're drowning in debt. I think that's one of the main things that I think a lot of couples, when you hear them, being able to make certain that there's food on the table and the bills are paid. Another one I think is sickness. A lot of persons are faced with sickness. Some people are going through being infected themselves with COVID and
Mhm.
other life challenges like, non-communicable diseases like diabetes and all the rest of the stuff. Because we as Bahamians, we don't eat right, and a lot of us don't exercise. And so as time go on, a lot of persons are dealing with sickness. And that's some of the things that I think as well. And another one I think is baggage.
Yeah, no question. That's I mean,
Baggage,
Mhm.
we tend to think that okay, it's behind me, but if you haven't dealt with all of those things and even discuss some of your baggages with your spouse, the baggage tends to affect your marriage, and your spouse has no reference point to where your reactions or your
Mhm.
responses are coming from, but they're coming from baggage, sorry, that you would have experienced in past relationships, or unspoken expectations that you have of your spouse that you did not make clear.
and in reference to the baggage, or even with the topic, what the topic is tonight, a lot of times people tend to push things under the rug, or they just go to sleep and hoping that you'll wake up and it'll be gone.
Mhm.
Like you mentioned, New Year's same problem. So you basically, a lot of people think that you crossing over the New Year now, all of those issues just gonna go away by themselves, but that's not the case. They're right there waiting on you when you wake up in the morning. So I think, is there something else you want to mention?
What I want to say too is if you do not plan um, to correct issues, if you do not identify them and plan to correct those issues, they're going to always happen. Like they said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing
Mhm.
you've always done and expecting a different result. So yes, we have crossed over into a new year, but if you have not made provisions to deal with things that that comes up every year, or things that need to be addressed, then you're going to end up 2022, 2023, God spares life, in the same situation.
Something I want to add to, that couples would obviously struggle with, is not celebrating the differences. That is something that's ongoing as well. And I mean, because a lot of times, if you are not careful and you're not conscious of understanding that this person is uniquely created, using unique,
Mhm. Yeah.
uniquely created, different from you for a purpose, you start to think that something is wrong with this person because they're not thinking like you, they're not acting like you, they're not responding, their perception of and their value, whatever, I won't say value, but their perception of things, how they respond, how they see things is different. So you figure that something is wrong with this person, but it's just another aspect. It's not a perspective. And you have to really celebrate the differences. It makes the difference in life actually is what makes everything beautiful.
Yeah,
And so you have to
definitely.
see that as such, and so that you could actually build upon it, and that becomes a problem for you.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. Go ahead.
One more problem I think that can reoccur is abuse. whether it's verbal or physical abuse.
Yes.
A lot of persons do not discuss abuse, but abuse happens in many marriages. Neglect as well, neglect of the person's needs, whether it's emotional needs, physical needs, financial needs, neglect, and so these are things that I think that are reoccurring: neglect and abuse.
Okay.
Yeah, and then some of those problems, when you look at them, they could affect so much of your life. Like, marriages, the person you decide to spend the rest of your life with, supposedly, right? And that relationship, that connection or lack of connection you have with that person is going to impact so much other areas of your life. How you react to your siblings, how you relate to your parents, how you relate to family members, how you behave on the job. Because, hey, you're miserable at home, you're either taking some of that misery at work, or you can't do certain things at home, so you want to show up at work and be this person, because hey, you can't show yourself at work, but you can't show yourself at home like that. So then it spills over in so many different areas. And then when we look at the children are also impacted, because mommy and daddy having issues, and then you take it out on the children. So so it's very important that couples are aware that, hey, you cannot just go and hide these issues under the carpet and just kind of gloss over them. Yes, this is a new year. You have to deal with the issues, because the only way you will solve them, the only way you will be able to move on healthily, is if you look the issues in the eye and kind of like solve them, deal with them.
Right.
I just want to add one. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Raquel.
I just want to add one thing to it. As Linda was speaking, came to me the whole thing of people being depression from all of these different issues. That depression can come from any of the things that we just talked about. And I was listening to another marriage show earlier in the year, and there was this is someone that's very known, because she's an entertainer in the US, and she said, she was so depressed and she just wanted to end it all. She didn't want to tell people, I'm going through problems. And she said the only reason why she didn't kill herself, because then she thought about, if she kills herself, then the children are going to have to live with the fact that their mother killed themselves. And then she said, okay, then we're going to take out everybody. I'm going to take out myself and everybody. But then she says, what if her plan doesn't work and one of the children live? Then they're going to have to live with all of this. And so that depression has to be addressed. It's something that you just can't, and a lot of it happens because of communication, all of these issues that we're talking about. Some people feel too proud to say that I need help. Like you say, help. But they feel too proud to say I need help, and then they go through these times of depression, and then they go through rage and different negative phases, and so that's something that I think that can be a reason why we'll be hollering help. We need help. We need assistance.
Yes.
Yeah, and sometimes the help doesn't actually come out their mouth. Their actions are showing that they need the help, but sometimes, people are afraid to say that they need the help. And we want to say help is available. We have Karl and Raquel here, Nassau, and, you'll get details on how to reach them later. But we have people. Help is like all around. We are here to help. You can go ahead, join us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. For those of you who are married, hey, help is available everywhere. Anywhere you look. We also have, so in our Unique Couples Marriage Club, we're talking about motivation, inspiration, and transformation. Daily drips of love. We're telling you things that you can do on a daily basis to deal with and improve your relationship. Take it to the next level of loving. Increase in trust, communication, passion, excitement. We're talking about date night ideas, things that you do on a daily basis to just love yourself and love your spouse. So you can go ahead. The link is in the description. Join us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. And that is an investment you make for your marriage. Okay. Yeah. So it's like not buying lunch for,
for 3 days.
Skipping 2 lunch meals. And that's an investment that you make for your marriage. And then you
for some people, that's one lunch.
Environment. Yeah. It's one lunch. Yeah, one lunch, one dinner. Less than that, right? Yeah. And then, of course, we have the How to Strengthen Your Marriage Facebook group. You can go ahead and join us in there as well. and connect and just find the resources. So help is always available. We must not feel afraid to ask for help, seek help. And like the lady you mentioned, Raquel, and not get to the point where we think, of all of these other alternatives because we want to hide the fact that we're hurting, hide the fact that we need help, and we don't want people to know. Okay, we need to get the help when we need it, and nothing is wrong with getting help. No. Listen, athletes get help. They get coaches, right? Get yourself a marriage coach if you don't.
Yes, correct.
Yes,
correct.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
What can couples do if they find themselves facing problems in their marriage?
Well, there's several things. I mean, like I mentioned when we first started, do not close the communication lines. That's the key right there. The shutting down, not speaking to each other is really the worst thing you can do. So what I would encourage persons to do is try the best to communicate as best you can. If you can't communicate at that time, try to set a time that you agree on that you can communicate later. You also have seeking counsel outside of each other. And obviously it'd have to be somebody that both persons would be comfortable with and someone who's reputable and someone that you can trust, or a couple that you can trust, like unique couples are ourselves. People who have a passion and a desire to see a marriage, who has no horse in the race, so they say, who can be objective.
Who's confidential
anything
as well.
Else you want to say?
Someone who's going to be confidential.
Definitely.
Because when you are opening up, you need to be able to feel that safety.
Yes.
In knowing that what is said here stays here, and that the advice that is given is grounded in the Word of God, is grounded in truth. Because you can get all kinds of advice, but all kinds of advice won't be what you need. You need advice that is God-centered, because marriage is a God-given thing. It's a God idea, and the principles of marriage is found in God and His relationship to us in the Word of God. And so you need good counselors that will give you not a worldly view, but a godly view of how to approach the problems in your marriage. I also feel that if you're having problems in your marriage, for example, especially if it's a communication problem, Carl and I always talk about the discussion box. We call it different things, but you need to create a time, a schedule that
be deliberate, be intentional.
You deal with issues not during the time that they're happening. You can't wait until or in the middle of something that is really getting on your nerve or is uneasy. You can't deal with those things right then many times, because then you're going to cause it to develop to another level, a negative level. So have times where you set aside that you're going to deal with very serious or strong issues. Nothing is coming.
You say, son, like, for example, just to add to what she's saying, like, for example, you can say every Sunday evening, I'm just choosing a day, every Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Well, no, when is unique couples? Because we don't want them doing that.
6 p.m.
All right.
6 p.m.
Every Sunday even at 7 p.m. after unique couples, because that would actually, you would get some input and some wisdom imparted to you. Every Sunday evening at 7 p.m., you'll say it'll be our time to discuss our issues. And so, but the bottom line is about setting aside a time, being deliberate with it, being exact and specific with the time, and then being committed and sticking to the time. You know what I'm saying? Because what happens too is it allows your spouse or each person to prepare themselves psychologically, emotionally. You know that you're coming in here, you divorce yourself from your emotions. You're going to be talking about issues. So I'm not coming into the session mad, or I can't wait to just tell them about whatever. So you're basically trying to solve the problem, not just coming to give somebody a part of your mind. So the fact that you set aside a time, both of you agree on the time and you commit to it, actually is very, very healthy and very, very successful. I mean, it'll be very, very successful to solving issues.
Because when you set a time, you also have to make certain that you cover the issues of that week. And to do that during the week, write down your issues, write down what you want to talk about, and just put it in a box, put it in a something, put it somewhere where both of you are putting those issues, written issues, in a box, and that box or that container is not opened until the time of discussion. And you just randomly pick the topics and start having that conversation, having that hard conversation, being mindful that you're going to be listening to learn, listening to understand, listening to support that person, not so much to defend yourself.
And for the technology buffs who talk about writing and putting in a box, that's old school. You could have and somewhere on your phone that you can save your questions or your points that you want to discuss. Both persons can save it on their phones, and when you come together, then you can just go through the list and discuss all the issues.
Definitely. And then I like the idea of the box and having a physical item, and especially putting it away where, we'll get to this on the day that we have committed. Because when you take out that item, you take out that sheet of paper with, or that index card or whatever, with that particular item, and we're talking about, the way you speak to me or something like that. I don't like, I don't like the way you shout at me or call me names or something like that is on the paper, right? And you deal with that, you discuss that, you get to the understanding of, okay, this is not the way that we should be speaking to each other. And, she doesn't appreciate that. He doesn't appreciate that. You correct that. Guess what? You could take that paper and throw that away. You could tear that up. You could burn that because you're realizing that, hey, this is something we've dealt with. We are not having this issue. This is something that we have corrected. So that's why I like the actual physical act of doing that. And just imagine seeing that jar get, emptier and emptier, because you're dealing with the issues, you're solving your problems, and you're not allowing them to be, more than the relationship. We always like to say that the relationship is the most important issue, not the problems.
Yes.
So your relationship needs to outlast the problems. And
That's
and
correct.
definitely. Definitely.
Remember, we say for life, so for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health. So we have to let the relationship be the main thing. We have to remember our relationship. We're not singles anymore. And the bottom line is we could do whatever we wanted to do before we got married. We decided that we want to be a couple, and being a couple means being a couple. Making certain that you're together, making certain that you're happy together, making certain that you put each other's need before the other one, so that you are blending and enjoying your marriage.
Definitely. So we want to say, those of you who are watching, joining us here on Unique Couple Sunday Night Live, thanks for joining us. Hello. I see Kathy is still here. Thanks for joining us. Listen, write your takeaways in the comments. Let us know what is for you. Like the watermelon, like we always say, eat the watermelon and spit out the seeds. Take what is for you. Remember, every couple is unique.
Yes.
So take what is for you and your relationship and just leave the rest. But we want to say, go ahead and try something different. Try something new and see how it works in your relationship. Okay, like Raquel mentioned the box, the container. If that's something that you want to try, go ahead and try it. If you want to put your own flair on that and use it for something else as well, go ahead and use that and see how it helps you in this new year to solve some of those same problems that you have, just kind of like reoccurring that you have not dealt with. And of course, do not be afraid to get help, but try something new, try something different. Take what is for you. So leave your comments in the chat. Let us know your takeaways. We love sharing with you and enjoy. And we look forward to seeing you every Sunday night.
Yes. And newlyweds. We have newlyweds that are watching with us today as well. So, Karl and Raquel, what is your top advice to newlyweds who are facing problems in their marriage?
Top advice. Listen, let me look at the camera for this. Marriage, you will have problems. You need to understand that you're in the same team. You also need to understand that in this particular case, you are not unique. All right? Everybody has problems, and this will pass. You must work through this. This is not the end. That is not the devil you're sleeping with next to at night. This will pass. This is common to all marriages. You're on the same team. Act like teammates and work through it.
Yep.
You want to add? Anything you want to put there?
What would I say? Remember that the person that you married is still there. Sometimes you say, boy, this is a new person. I didn't see these things before. The attributes and the reasons that you fell in love with that person, it's still embodied in that person. Find a way to reconnect. and bring out those qualities again out of your spouse.
Awesome. Yes, because I think sometimes we tend to forget, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think earlier Carl mentioned something about, what you, when y'all were having the challenges in your marriage. And it's like when you focus in and zoom in on those little tiny things. So it's like what you focus on, you get. So if you're focusing on that one little annoying or two little annoying things that your spouse does that really gets on your nerves, guess what? And if that's all you focus on, that's what you will see more of. And it will drive you up the wall.
Yes.
But if you decide to kind of like change that perspective and not focus on all of the things that he does wrong or she does wrong, and instead look at, finding a way to look at all of the good things that they do and trying to celebrate your spouse and looking for all of the good, then you'll get more of the good. And saying that out loud to your spouse too will definitely make that better. So focus in, zone in on the good things.
I'd like to add to that. While you were talking, Philippians came to me that says, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things of good report, if there's any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. And the Bible also says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So what you're thinking on, if you begin to think negative about your spouse, about your marriage, about your situation, you're going to reap that negativity. So when you find that you're thinking about that one minute thing, let me use my husband and I, that cup that I left by the bed, or that cup that I left on the front room counter. If you keep thinking about that and thinking how that annoys you, and why can't Raquel do differently, but you stop thinking about all the million of other things that Raquel do right.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, Raquel is this person that is something that is not pleasant. You don't want to be around. And then the devil will just keep milling that and growing that. And then all of a sudden, people are in the divorce court and the judge says, why are you divorcing your wife? Because she squeezes the toothpaste from the middle, or because she leaves a cup on the counter. And that is why it has to be whatsoever things that you think about. Think about the good things. And there's a grateful heart always lift the spirit. There's so many things in your spouse that you need to be grateful for, that you need to thank God for, because when you listen to the stories of other people, you will realize leaving the cup, boy, that's little things.
Let me say something.
That's actually one of my favorite Bible texts, Raquel.
This issue is of biblical proportions, because really and truly, when you look, it all started in the book of Genesis. When Satan came to Eve, he said, listen, first of all, God's instruction to Adam was, I have made 1,000,000 trees. All right. You could eat off all of these trees. Just don't eat of this one. And Satan came and he highlighted the one thing. He said, you know what? God trying to keep something from you. He's not letting you eat of this particular tree. And he blocked out. So basically what came in focus was this one tree now that you were given instructions not to touch. And so now the other 1,000,000 trees that you had access to, you even haven't eaten of those yet. But this particular one tree now became the issue. And so now you lost everything. And really and truly, there's a revelation in that you lost everything now because your focus was on this one tree. That was an issue for you, that somebody is keeping something from me. And so now you lost all the benefits of everything else. So wrapped up in there.
Yeah.
Serious.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And for the married couples who have been married for a long time, what is your top advice to these married couples who are struggling with the same recurring problems in their marriage?
You want to tackle this first, honey?
I think I made mention already of some of the things. If you keep doing the same thing you've always been doing, you're going to get the same results.
So something different.
I feel that when you realize, first of all, you need to study your marriage. You need to study the problems. And I like the word that you use, recurring problems. If they are recurring, then you need to study their timing. What time these things happen. Let's see. Study what are the triggers for these things to happen. Is it around the menstrual cycle? Is it around the time when it's time to pay bills? And is the frustration of the finances inducing these problems? You have to study to see what is causing your issues.
Mm-hmm.
If you just keep saying, oh, I guess having these problems, the Bible says, study to show yourself approved. A workman need not be ashamed. Rightly divide the word of truth. The Bible also says to the man, deal with your wife according to knowledge.
Yes.
So you have to sit and think, okay, I've noticed that even if you have to journal every time you see a particular problem come up, what caused this to come up at this time? What was the trigger? What were we going through? Ask questions of your spouse. How is your love bank? Is your love bank okay? What am I not doing? Don't focus on the problem. Sometimes focus on, like I said, the triggers. What are the triggers? Because the triggers might be that most of the time your wife, once her love bank is filled, she's now able to overlook certain things. But then when that love bank is empty, then it becomes a problem. And that love bank may be empty because she's having a menstrual cycle. And of course, a cycle is a cycle for us women. And so she might just be going through that cycle and need that love bank filled. So I'm saying to a couple that is having recurring problems, study the problem. The answer to your problem lies in how well you know yourself, you know your spouse, and you figure out what the triggers are. It might just be that person does not feel special. It might be that person feels as if you're spending more time with the children or spending more time at work. Find out what the triggers are.
Definitely. So know the problem. Definitely, we constantly talk about, and then for those of you who want to get more in depth with that, make sure you join us in the How to Strengthen Your Marriage Facebook group for our challenge that is coming up, that we hold. I think it's just once a year. So make sure you get in that. And one of the key things we do is know yourself. Okay, so you have to know yourself. Know yourself, know your spouse, about all of these boundaries and issues. So when you get to talking about and discussing these issues, then you will be better equipped to deal with problems that come up because you know yourself, you know your spouse. You better be able to deal with those issues like Raquel has said. And if you don't, then of course you'll face the problem where you have these same problems reoccurring. And because you've never dealt with them, you've never really gotten to the bottom of dealing with the problems, dealing with what triggers them, or dealing with your past baggage, those baggages that you carry from the past relationships or from your home, your family. Okay, so some of those are really things that you bring into a relationship that needs to stop for this new year. Go ahead, Karl.
Yeah, one thing I just want to add is a lot of times when we're in relation, because life is about relationships anyhow. I always tell people that, but particularly marriage, we're talking about. You're intimate with this person. You know them intimately. You know their faults, their flaws, and a lot of times when there's issues that arise in the marriage, if one particular person is more responsible for the issue, we tend to focus on that, highlight that, and keep hacking on them. Why don't you change? You need to change. You change. So we're talking about recurring problems. So therefore, you may have a situation where this problem is recurring, right? But this is how life is, and it's mathematical. If you change one item of a formula, the result of the formula changes. And so we talked before, I think, in another session about what percentage you're responsible for. Your spouse may be 90% responsible for the issue that you all are going through. You may only be 10%. But if you change your 10%, I can almost guarantee you're going to see the change and the result of the whole issue. So basically, do introspection and see what you can change about yourself, your approach, maybe how you say things, or when you say things, or whatever it may be, how you act, how they respond to that. Basically, if you change that, there's going to be some response that's going to be different from what you're used to in the person. So I just want to encourage them to do introspection. Like you say, know yourself. And basically, whatever you can change, no matter how small it may be, no matter how minute it may seem to you, it will change the result overall after a while.
Definitely.
Yes,
definitely.
yes, it will.
Because you can only change yourself. As much as you want to change your spouse, you can't change your spouse. Take it to prayer, but you cannot change your spouse.
That's it.
So for our viewing audience, Go ahead and put your takeaways
Yes,
in.
yes.
Tell us what is one of your takeaways from what was shared here this evening. As we bring this conversation to an end, let us know what are your takeaways. So, Karl and Raquel, tell our viewing audience how they may get in contact with you and how they may find you on social media.
Okay. We just actually launched our Facebook page. It's Pathway to Passion. That's PATH. It's actually on the screen. Pathway to Passion is our Facebook page. Going to be doing a lot of stuff with that coming up shortly, starting the new year. Our email address for those who can email us can also email us at P2Passion. That's PTO passion@gmail.com. For any information that you need, further information we need to receive from us, or even set up a counseling session. And also, too, for immediate help, if you need counseling, for immediate help, you can call us directly at 242-362-1065. We'll be available to help you whenever we can in case of emergency or for advice or wisdom, imparting anything that we can help at the time. We will be available to you.
Awesome. Yeah, so you heard it. Pathway to Passion. We're so happy to have Karl and Raquel Adderley sharing all the way in Nassau, Bahamas with us today. Listen, go ahead. Like we said earlier, if you are experiencing problems or you need help, do not stay stuck in your problem. Yes. Your relationship is supposed to be the most important issue, so don't let the problems overwhelm you to the fact that you will let the problems get the upper hand instead of your relationship. Your relationship is the most important issue. Mm-hmm. So get the help that you need. Help is always available. Don't let pride get in your way. Get the help that you need and kind of just, go about loving each other the way that God intended for that to happen. So we're excited about the conversation. Let us know your comments. We are definitely going to go ahead and read those again. So leave your comments, leave your questions. You can contact Karl and Raquel at Pathway to Passion if you need more assistance. Definitely join us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club and get more. You're taking your marriage to the next level of loving. So you could go ahead and join us there in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. The link is in the description. Go ahead and join us in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. We had fun as always sharing.
Yes.
And make sure you join us for our Wednesday evening. Yes, Wednesday evenings we
Unique Couples After Dark.
After dark. Go ahead and join us for
9 p.m.
that.
Eastern Standard Time right here on the Unique Couples YouTube channel.
Yeah, so if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to our Unique Couples YouTube channel.
Yes, once again we want to thank Karl and Raquel for taking time out of their schedule to share with us today on our Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. We learned a lot, and I know our viewing audience got some great takeaways and nuggets from what was shared here. And we want to see marriages thrive. So go ahead and follow those tips, those points that was mentioned, so your marriage can thrive.
Yeah, Thank you so much for having us. As always, it's a pleasure being with you. And we totally enjoy the Unique Couples group and what they offer. Yes. Thank you so much for being faithful to the call.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, and thanks for being a part of our community as well. So everyone, we are so excited. So continue with us this year. Listen, if you are looking for more in your marriage, make sure you are following. Go ahead and follow us, Unique Couples. We are on
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube.
So you can connect with us on all those platforms. Are definitely in the paid group, Unique Couples Marriage Club, and the How to Strengthen Your Marriage Facebook group. And we have some challenges going on. You need to make sure you join us to connect there.
Yeah, so here at Unique Couples, we are building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and
happier families.
Love you guys. See you later.
Bye.
Good evening, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good evening.
Okay.